Hey everybody, and Tony here with a review of Sarusuberi, Miss Hokusai, which was released in Japan on May 9, 2015. It was based on the manga written by Hinako Sugiura, published by Jitsugyo no Nihonsha, running from 1983 to 1987 in 3 tankobon on Weekly Manga Sunday. It was directed by Keiichi Hara. It was written by Miho Maruo. The film's musical score was composed by Harumi Fuki. The studio that was the major backbone of this film was Production I.G, and it starred the voices of Ane Watanabe, Yutaka Matsuhige, Gaku Hamada, Kengo Koura, Jun Miho, Miyu Irino, Shion Shimizu, Ikuko Tani, Akiko Yajima, Junko Takeuchi, Keiji Fujiwara, Michitaka Tsutsui, Kumiko Aso, and Danshun Tatekawa. And since I also saw this film in German at the Kino Babylon, this also starred the voices of Mia Diakov, Sven Gerhardt, Ayana Boabach, Jan Makino, and Konrad Bösherz. Now, I went into this film via complete chance, all thanks to a poster I saw at the Bootfabrik, and I was rather interested with it to the point where I got myself a pamphlet and read some interesting facets about the film. And also, this film was based on the life of a real-life person in the form of Oe Katsushika, who was the daughter of the famous Japanese artist Hokusai Katsushika. The only well-known work that I know of Katsushika-san was The Great Wave off Kanagawa, which is very well known and has been seen in a lot of anime and a lot of installments in general. I didn't really know that much of Oe Katsushika, but she was very well known for painting a lot of works based on mythical figures and women. So there's no doubt that these two artists were very famous in the Meiji period, and their works left such a great legacy in Japanese arts and culture. So when I went into this film and saw the trailer, I knew that I was going to have a lot of high hopes for this film. This had a lot of great expectations coming from me, and I knew that I was not going to be disappointed. And after I saw this film in German at the Kino Babylon, and also rewatching this in its original Japanese at the comfort of my own house, I definitely have to say that this was very enjoyable and it was really great in its own special way. Now, when you go to the story, when you take elements of slice of life with a biographical film, with elements of fantasy, supernatural elements, drama, and comedy, you get one great package which really makes the film come alive in terms of its story. The film follows the life of one Oe Katsushika, who is basically trying to cope with her everyday life, dealing with her father, her sickly younger sister, her family in general, her two friends, and a lot of other colorful and very interesting people that she meets day by day. She definitely has a lot to deal with, and you could definitely see a lot of these interesting exploits, whether they be funny or heart-tugging or dramatic or exciting. You definitely feel invested in the world that she gets herself into. And this is also helped by the fact that this is also set at the Meiji period, and you could definitely see that the creators of this film really knew how to pay their respects to the Katsushikas, and they really knew how to present this film in a very masterful and a very respectful way, and really knowing how to balance a lot of elements of drama, comedy, a biographical film, slice of life, and everything else that this film is defined by. So I'm not going to mince words here. The story is very well done. However, there are some moments in which there are some unresolved conflicts, and some conflicts end up going way too fast. But despite some of those minor issues, they did not detract my overall enjoyment from the story, which is so well woven from beginning to end and never left me bored. In fact, it's just so interesting, and when you take all of those detractors away, you get a film that has a lot of heart, a lot of excitement, and just simply put, a labor of love to not only us, the viewers, but to also the real life Katsushikas, Oe, and Hokusai. The animation, as to be expected by Production I.G, was very well done. Now, what you'll notice about the main heroine, Oe, is that she doesn't look like a lot of your typical anime heroines. Because what you would expect from typical anime heroines is that they look young, they look pretty, they look very attractive, some of them have cleavage, but with her, she has thick eyebrows, she comes off as very independent minded, and she doesn't really have a hell lot of cleavage. But she is rather attractive in her own special way, in a very unpretentious manner. And that's what I can honestly say about the character designs. It's unpretentious, it's authentic, it's real, as if though the people really knew what the people at the Meiji period wore. And you could definitely tell that everyone did their research. And the CGI combined with the 2D animation was so well combined. And what you'll notice about some of the painting montages is that they're so well choreographed and so well drawn that you get so immersed into everything that the artists' minds really get themselves into, especially when you put their perspectives into these paintings, into their mindsets, and you really get a sense of wonder, mystery, and fantasy in general. So, what more can I expect from a company as great and masterful like Production IG? It does have really great animation, as to be expected, which is no surprise because a lot of my favorite anime shows also have Studio IG as their backbone, and you could definitely tell that the animation found in Sarusuberi, Miss Hokusai, is really well done, despite some moments in which you could tell that the budget is clearly showing, but it did not detract from the overall experience I had with the animation, and it did not detract from the overall creativity that these guys definitely had. And the music is very, very well done. Perhaps the biggest highlights of the music definitely has to be a lot of the quieter moments. Whether you have some violins in the background or a piano or some traditional Japanese music, those are the ones that are the definite highlights. But the film also uses some other genres like rock and roll and even a pop ballad at the end of the movie. Nonetheless, the music is very well done and very well arranged to really show what the characters are going through and to even heighten up the overall atmosphere. The characters are very lovable and very interesting in their own special way, and they just have a lot of great personalities. Oe is a very strong minded, independent woman who does not take crap from anybody, but at the same time shows a lot of appreciation to her younger sister, shows friendship to Kunino and Zenjiro, and even is rather straight minded with her own father, Hokusai, and she even gets herself into a lot of interesting exploits as the film goes on. She is definitely interesting as a character, as she is defined by how tough she is as a person, how independent she is, but also how loving she can be and how relatable she can be. She also has her fair share of flaws. Like, she can be stubborn, she can be kind of closed to other people, she does tend to be rash, and at times she does tend to have a cold side to other people. But those are definitely characteristics which make her all the more endearing and all the more lifelike, which I definitely enjoyed through someone like Oe. With Hokusai, he is definitely someone who is enjoyable in his own way, as he is someone who is kind of a deadbeat dad, at the same time is very passionate about his work as an artist and is very focused in his work, and at times comes off as pretty deadpan. And with his deadpan nature, he does seem rather enjoyable. Zenjiro is kind of the antithesis to always straight-minded and stern nature, and he does have his fair share of hilarious moments, countering always stern-faced and straight-minded characteristics, and they really do complement each other wonderfully. The same thing can be said about Kuninao, who is a very jovial, very lively, and simply put, a rather handsome fellow who is just a lot of fun as he's a very bubbly personality, and he also does complement well to always independent minded, steely, ambitious nature. And these two gentlemen, Zenjiro and Kunino, really know how to play off each other wonderfully with their constant banters, and they're just a lot of fun to watch. Kichiya is also quite interesting, and even though his character is sort of there, and even though he only has a few moments of screen time, he's a very fascinating enigma. When it comes to Onao, you might think that she might be one of these creepy children who don't emote much or don't speak much. But the film proves it wrong, as when she is seen playing with a boy, she is laughing, she is enjoying herself, and you get to see some layers of doubts whether she'll go to heaven or hell when she dies. And just to hear her talking about death at a very young age is really sad and really depressing because she's still very young, she's still a kid, and she still has a lot of life and love to live. And to really see that coming out of her mouth is really depressing. But at the same time, this definitely gives her a lot of layers in her characterization, and it makes her very endearing in her own special way, especially the moments between Oe and Onao. You could definitely tell that there is a great bond between these two sisters. And when you feel that bond, when you get connected to their relationship as sisters, you can't help but feel totally immersed and endeared by just how close these two sisters are. Now, when it comes to Koto, the mother of Oe and Onao, she does have a fair amount of screen time, which may not be that much, but she does prove herself to be a loving and very straight-minded mother. Zanjido is very straight-minded and also is concerned about the well-being of others, and he definitely is someone who does genuinely care for the likes of not only Oe, but for all the other characters around him. Hatsuguro is quite interesting as well, as he does play off of Oe's straight-minded nature, and he seems rather bubbly and at the same time kind of stern, but quite bubbly nonetheless. Sayagoromo is not just another pretty face. She's smart, she is independent-minded, she's steely, and she does have that tendency to have that weird habit that when she sleeps, her neck tends to move, which does make her seem rather interesting in her own special way. And I'm not going to mince words here. The characters are very interesting, and even though there are some characters who are in need of a lot more development, they're still likable in their own special ways, and there are a lot of interesting traits to really root for. On top of that, there are no villains in this film, so you're not going to find anyone who's going to take over the world. You're just going to find characters who live their everyday lives like everyday people, encountering each other and getting themselves into a lot of crazy and very colorful situations. And the voice acting is very well done. Fun fact, a lot of the seiyuu in the Japanese dub are mostly television actors or film actors, with some few well-known names in the anime industry here and there. With Ane Watanabe, I could definitely feel that sense of rebelliousness and that sense of being independent-minded and very steely in the way she portrays Oe. It is delivered in a very natural manner, and she really knew how to bring this character to life. Mia Dyakov's delivery of Oe is also very well done, and it's quite on par with Ane Watanabe's performance. But ultimately, I have to say that Watanabe's performance really does convey a lot of layers, and Watanabe-san really knows how to get herself into this character. Yutaka Matsuhige's portrayal of Hokusai is also very well done, and he really knows how to find the subtleties in this character. And the same thing can be said about Sven Gerhardt. Both of these actors really know how to really get themselves invested in these characters and deliver their lines in such a very natural manner. And when it comes to Gaku Hamada's performance as Zenjiro, he's just a lot of fun. He injects a lot of that childlike nature into Zenjiro, and his performance comes off as very endearing and very charming all throughout. The same thing can be said about Kengo Kora's delivery of Kuninao, in which he manages to deliver that childlike nature combined with an innocence and an endearing nature that makes these characters come to life. And the same thing I can say about Jan Makino's and Konrad Böshert's performances as Zenjiro and Kuninao respectively. These actors really did fantastically, making them a very lovable and fun-loving pair of gentlemen who managed to get themselves into a lot of fun situations with Oe. Jun Miho's performance as Koto was elegant and dignified. Miyu Irino's performance as Kichiya was delivered in a way that is very natural, and he almost made me think that he was voiced by a woman. And I thought he did very impressively with this fine character role. He has a very youthful sounding voice, which he manages to really embody in this really thankless character. Shion Shimizu's performance as Onao really delivers a great sense of childlike innocence and a bewilderment, which really makes it very natural for someone as young as Shion Shimizu, as she was only 12 years old when she voiced this character. And then when you have Kumiko Aso as Sayo Goromo, you really get the sense that she is a very dignified and very gorgeous courtesan who is very intelligent and very much a woman of the world. And when it comes to Michitaka Tsutsui's performance as Hatsukoro, you really get the sense that he is a very dignified gentleman. And you really get great performances from smaller roles done by Ikuko Tanni, Akiko Yajima, Junko Takeuchi, and Keiji Fujiwara. So I'm not going to mince words here. The voice acting done in both Japanese and German was absolutely well done, but I ultimately have to go with the Japanese dub because all the lines were delivered in a way that's very natural. That's not to say I didn't like the German dub, quite the contrary. It's actually very well delivered with all the voice actors and voice actresses delivering all their lines in a very natural manner. And if ever this anime film will get an English dub, I pray that the voice actors and the voice actresses will also not only measure up to the Japanese seiyu's natural way of performing, but also make their characters also stand out in their own special ways. So overall, what more can I say about Sarusuberi Miss Hokusai? It is definitely a very well done film with a lot of great animation, great voice acting from both sides of the pond, and really wonderful eclectic music. And with that said, I give Sarusuberi Miss Hokusai a well-deserved 4.5 out of 5 stars. It is a near perfect film, and even though there were some minor issues with this film, they did not detract from the overall enjoyment that I had with this wonderful piece of work. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to tune in much later for my review of the Venezuelan film Desde Allá. So until then, have a great evening, everybody.